Before we continue with the video, if you like what I'm doing here on this channel, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel a lot. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Welcome. In this tutorial, we will be looking at how we can troubleshoot an AI not working. So in this example, we're going to be making use of my previous AI tutorial, which we just created an easy character that's being chased by an AI. To demonstrate what that looks like, this is a character, it's roaming over there, and if at any point it gets to see the player character, it will run after it, and if it loses sight of the character for more than a second or two, I think it is, then it will go back to roaming again. So you can see it will roam, and if we get into its perception again, it will start chasing us. So that's essentially all the logic that this character has. And yeah, so what we will be doing is I will be creating a few different examples of I will be breaking the code essentially of this example. So if you want to follow along with that example, I will post a link to this tutorial that created this setup. But essentially I will be breaking a few things in the code, and then we will troubleshoot to see how we find them and then how we fix them. And that's essentially what we will be doing today. Okay, so I have broken the code for the first example. We're gonna move our player start here so that we are not immediately seen by the AI if we're unlucky. And what we will be doing now is we are just going to be checking our AI character over there, and we can see that our AI character is not moving. So the first thing that we can do is we can make use of, if we press the apostrophe key, I believe this setting is available to be rebound in the settings for the project as well. We essentially now can see our debug information for our AI. And you can see that using our 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 key in the top left, you can see, we can change into different modes or enable or disable different areas related to the debugging of the AI. First things first. You may not be getting any information here at all. So if you press Shift F1, you get your mouse free from the window, and then you need to make sure that you have the correct actor chosen here. Because if we go in and choose the controller here, for example, we don't see anything. We don't have any information. And if we had our third-person character, nothing would be shown. We need to have the AI character selected for us to see the information related to that character. The reason for this is you might have multiple characters in the world, and the debugger needs to know which AI character that you're trying to debug for, essentially. Okay. From here, we can see a few things. We can see first how long we have been running up in the top here. We can see the different things we can enable here. So if I press 0, for example, actually I need to select the viewport again. Press 0, you can see the nav mesh. If I press 3, we can see abilities. 4, we can see EQS, 5, perception, and so on. So here we can disable or enable the things that are most interesting to us. Other than that, we can see here information about the current AI that we are debugging right now. We can see information like its active task. We can see things down here along its behavior tree, which of the different trees it is taking currently. We can see over here in the middle, we can see the Blackboard asset that the AI has. So here we can see all the different potential variables that the Blackboard is keeping track of. So that's found over here. And also over there we can see that it's marking up for us the AI controller of this AI and its unique identifier for that, essentially. Okay, so this is very important. This will be where we can start troubleshooting most of our problems. Now in this case we can look at, for example, our behavior tree. What seems to be happening here? We seem to have a wait, we seem to have some code that's happening before the wait. Okay, so let's look at our behavior tree then. So our behavior tree is over here. And while we are running in runtime, we can, let's see if I can, there we go, undock this information. Because when we have this selected here, we can see that it is going through the code here now. And what we're seeing here is that it's not going through the left code over here. It is going through the right code, which is supposed to find the random location, move to the location, and wait. and it seems like it's spending most of its time in the wait. It seems like it's not moving, but we can see that it's flickering, so these pieces of code are being run. Okay, that's a start. So where could the problem be then? Logically, it seems like a wait wouldn't be an issue, a move to might not be an issue, and a find random location seems to be the most obvious location to start. So let's start here. Other reasons to start here would be that this is just the first thing that we seem to be executing, and it might be the problem, and then we can just move down the chain until we find our problem. So this is a behavior tree task. We can double click into it and we can see what it looks like. And here it is. So we have this code running here that's supposed to get an actor location. It's supposed to get a random point in navigatable radius. It's supposed to set the Blackboard key of that value, and then it's supposed to say I have finished executing. Okay, let's start off with seeing what kind of a location it is getting. So we can right click and type in draw debug sphere. This is just a sphere that we will draw in the world, and we can say that we want to draw it where the location that we get from our navigation here is. And we can say that we want to have it for, let's say, 2 seconds. We can say that we want to have a bright green color. Actually, let's take a red color. Reds are usually easier to see. That's more magenta. Let's make it something like that. We have a radius, we have a thickness. Let's put a thickness of 2 or something, so we know that we can see it. A radius of 100, it means 1 meter, so it should be big enough. And then we hook this up. So now we will be able to see where it is going to be going. So we press play again, and we look, and we can see that the point that this AI is trying to go to is exactly where it's standing, which corresponds to what we have been seeing. If it's trying to go to where it is, it would be standing still. So it's finding the random location, it's moving to that location, and then it's waiting. So it's just working as intended, essentially. So what is happening here then? Why it is trying to go there? Looking at our code, we can see that get random location is using our actor location as a start, and then it has a radius value showing that I need to look this far out from this area. So if we put this to 500, meaning 5 meters, and we try to run again, you can see that our AI character is getting points that it's actually, okay, this is a bit counterintuitive. I will show you why. This is a getter node, which means it will be getting a different value each time it's being called. So to show what the issue is here, is that when this code is called, it's going to get a value, and when this code is called, it's going to get another random value. So what we need to do here is we need to set this to a breakpoint. We promote it to a variable, not set it to a breakpoint, we need to promote it to a variable. So we do this once when we decided variable, and then we go to that area and we make sure that we also draw the area over here. And then we run, and we can see that the red spheres are going to correspond to where it will actually be moving. So that is the issue in the first problem. So let's take a look at another one. Okay, so I've broken the code again. Let's see what happens. So we start playing. We can see that our AI character is standing still. It doesn't seem to be wanting to roam. It doesn't care if it's seeing us, it seems. So let's bring out our debugger and see what happens. So here we should already be seeing big red warning flags, because first of all, we don't see a Blackboard here. We don't see any of the variables, which means the Blackboard is the mind of the AI, so it doesn't seem to have one. We can also see that the behavior tree category here is completely blank. We can also press P and we can see that sight is working fine. It is perceiving us. So what's happening here is we're lacking a behavior tree and we're lacking a Blackboard. This should lead us to thinking that there's something wrong with our behavior tree. And our behavior tree is run from our AI controller. Our AI controller has a run behavior tree. In this case, we can see it is not hooked up properly. And if we do that, everything should be working fine again. See our character has moved a little bit over there. And if we get inside of sight, it's following us. So we could see that the reason for that happening here, as a contrast, we have a blackboard and a behavior tree running. That is because it didn't have a behavior tree running, and that is why it didn't have that data showing in the screen. Next example, I've broken the code again. I'm very good at breaking stuff. We press play, we see what happens. We can see that the character is roaming over there. Everything seems fine so far. We run into its field of vision. It does not seem to be happening. Nothing seems to be happening. So let's bring up our debugger and see what's happening here. So it doesn't seem like it's perceiving us. So let's press 5 for perception. And we can see that it is actually perceiving us. It is registering us and everything and keeping track. But we can see in the blackboard asset that our follow target is set to none. Our follow target is the variable where we keep the actor we're supposed to be chasing. So we are not updating the blackboard properly. We can see that the blackboard behavior tree is running on the left hand side there. It has a move to, it's just doing the roaming part. So let's see what it actually looks like in runtime. So we bring out our behavior tree. And we see what it looks like. So we can see that it's running its part over here, which is the random location, the roaming part. But it never seems to be getting here. And we know that the code over here is executed when the follow target is set, which we have determined already is not happening. So this part is not getting called because the target is not being set. But we know that it's perceiving us, so we know that there's some disconnect between the perception and the actual storing of the variables. So let's stop for now and go to our AI character. Our AI character, we only have pretty much the code for the stimulus here, which is where we're perceiving things, we're processing the stimuli in some way, and we're either following a target or we're forgetting about the target that we were previously following. These are the two branches that we essentially have here. So something seems to be going wrong here. So this is the part where we're supposed to be following a target. So let's see if this code is actually executed at all. So we go back and we press play and we run out, and we can see that the character has perceived us. It doesn't look like it has, but it might have changed and rotated and is perceiving us, but the character hasn't rotated yet. That could be a thing. And then we go back to our AI character. So we see that this code is being called, so that's good. So we step into it and we see here that what we're doing here is we're setting a new character to follow, which in this case is third person character C0. That is the player character that we're currently playing as. So everything here looks fine. And we're clearing our handle, which is when we're like, we want to stop the timer about forgetting. It's the timer that keeps track of if we haven't seen something for a while. And this is not important anymore to have it running anymore if we have just identified a target. So then we're setting the blackboard object and we're setting the object key, which we seem to be looking fine. And we're setting it to the key name of follow target here, and then we're returning. And if you have seen the problem already, good job. The problem here is we have follow target spelled wrong. This is follow target with just one L. If we go and check what the blackboard says, it is spelled follow target with two L's. So this is why it's important that you copy paste your variables and have them either stored as variables, you can't make these kind of typos, or that you make sure that you copy paste them like this so that you don't get an error like this, because this is just a typo error and it has consequences. Going back, we can run over here, we can see we entered a new target to follow. We'll remove the breakpoint, we'll let it just proceed, and everything seems to be working as we are intending again. So that's that issue. It was just a typo, but we can deduce it from how the behavior tree acts and that the perception was working, but the blackboard values were not being set properly. Here we go again. I've broken something again. We press play and see what happens. So we have our character over there. It seems to be roaming fine. We run out. It has now seen us. It follows us. It waits. Everything seems perfectly fine. And then it stops for some reason. So something seems weird here. So let's bring out the debugger. Let's see what's happening. We can see the paths it's tracing, we can see the behavior tree on the left, we can see that it's currently in the roaming mode here running around. But we can also see that in the blackboard in the top, we can sometimes see it flicker or even stay locked on our as a character, third person character, but it's not running towards us. Why is that? It seems like it doesn't want to chase us, but now it's chasing us again. We can see that it stopped there where the green ended. So this might give us an indication that it is not able to find the path to us, because we can see that it's setting the variables properly. We can see that it's running the AI behavior tree here, and it seems to be following us for the most part fine, but there seems to be an area where it can't reach us. So let's press 0 for nav mesh, and we can see that the nav mesh here is only available in the corner of the map here, so it's only able to follow us as long as we're staying on the green area. If we go outside of it, we're no longer eligible to be followed. So the problem here is, of course, if we stop and we press P, is that we can see this is the nav mesh that we have, and we need to make sure that our nav mesh bounds volume actually encompasses the whole play area. If I put this to 50-50, we can see that we have it now in the whole area, and it should be working fine again to chase us wherever inside this area, not just only in the corner. Here we go, I've broken code again. Let's see what's happening. So we can see the character seems to be roaming fine. Standing still there for some reason. Doesn't seem to want to follow us. Seems like it's frozen in place for some reason. It's jerked there a little bit. So something is very peculiar here. So let's see what we can see. So we bring out the debugger. We can see that the behavior tree on the left, it seems to be running a wait continuously. We can see in the blackboard, we can see that we have our third person character, so it's actually perceiving us right now, and if we press 5, we can see that yes, that is correct, it is what we're expecting. So it seems to be running some kind of wait here. So let's bring out our behavior tree and see what is actually going on. So we can see that it's running the part of the code that's supposed to chase the player, but it's not chasing the player, it's just running its wait and not actually moving to it. If at this point you can see what the problem is, good job. The problem here is, of course, that we have a selector here. A selector will run the highest priority task that it has, that is successful, and keep doing that. In this case, we have a wait. A wait will always return as success after having been done. So this means that it's running the wait, it is successful, and the selector will just keep doing that repeatedly. So it will never try to chase us. So if we stop this and we instead change it so that the highest priority one is to move, and then we save and put it up here again, and we run. You can see the character is roaming, the character sees us, it's following us. Everything seems fine, except for that the AI seems to be a little bit neglecting about personal space here. How we had designed this AI was that we should be able to be caught by the AI, and then it should be waiting a few seconds before it keeps running again. But now it just keeps running after us, which is not what we wanted. Why is that? Well, in the behavior tree, we can find the solution again. We can, as we just said before, only execute the highest priority node or task for a selector that it finds successful, and then it will not do anything else. So it will never get to the wait here. So the problem here is actually that I have been sneaky and chosen a selector instead of a sequence, and a sequence here will give us the behavior that we want. So if we go with a selector to move and to wait and disconnect this one, it will then run in sequence both of these. So it will run this one. If it's successful, it will continue to the next task and do that until it fails. So it will run through all of the different tasks that it has. So if we try to run this again, it should now be behaving as we had intended it to. And indeed it does. So that's how we can find that. So looking at the behavior tree in the debugger and getting some indication of what's wrong, and then checking how it actually runs in real time, we can deduce that it's working in a way we did not intend. That will be all for now. I hope that this was educational and useful. I believe that troubleshooting and debugging skills are very important for you if you want to work on a project, because it will make you more independent and trying to solve your problems yourself, so you don't have to ask about everything. Instead, you can actually sort of solve the issues by understanding how things work. It is a crucial skill to have when it comes to software development in general, but also in game development. So let me know in the comments if you thought that this was useful or not. See you next time. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you did not like it, leave a dislike. Leave any suggestions or comments you have down below. Subscribe and share this video if you want to see more like it in the future. That is all for now. Keep on learning. Take care.